I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully is disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, man. And I'm gonna tell him why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state. And of course, as always, I'm upset.
Maize and Blue Nation, it's Tom Brady. I co-founded Autograph with one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. That's why I'm excited to announce the release of a new app that recognizes the biggest Michigan fans. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best Michigan content, fan challenges, and exclusive rewards for diehard Wolverines, all for doing the things you already do, like listening to this podcast. Head over to the Apple App Store and search for Autograph Rewarding Fans and download today.
Good evening, good people, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's been such a long time since we were live. First and foremost, I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year on the New Year coming up. That said, we got business to discuss. Shout out to Justin with the first comment. Let's go Big Blue. You already know. You already know what time it is. I'm gonna give people a second to get in. Big Blue is Kentucky, another school, not Michigan. That's also true, Kenneth. It's although in this situation, he's just referring to big as the blue, but I get it. Either way, it's blue. Why are we mad? Today, we're not too upset, but we are upset. And we are at the SEC and their rabid fan bases, especially this Alabama fan base. Speaking of Alabama's fan base, I got a surprise for you guys. Tomorrow, I will also be live, 5 p.m. With, by the way of Nick Saban Jr. Be sure to check us out live tomorrow right here on the Maize Madman as I school him on why Michigan is going to topple his team. Bottom line, it's nothing really else to say about it. Shout out to Justin again. Merry Christmas to everyone. While we're here and while we're at it, because I'm so rusty, it's been such a long time since I've been live, like I was saying. Let's start with why Michigan will win this game. Very quickly, Alabama, it's very easy to nitpick and say they lost to or they lost to Texas, that they almost lost to Auburn, that they struggled with Arkansas, they struggled with USF or UCF, USF, right? Those are too easy almost. But when you drill down and we talk about, for instance, their quarterback versus Michigan's quarterback, JJ versus Milroe, it's very simple. He is not as accurate as JJ. JJ is the more accurate passer. He may be, and I'm just giving him this much more in terms of the athleticism because JJ is a vastly underrated athlete. And when he uses legs, JJ is very, very dangerous. I'm sorry. It's not even close between these. JJ is the much better outside of the pocket passer. He's the better pocket passer. There's nothing in terms of passing the football that Jaden Milroe does better than JJ, except deep completions. I will give him the slight edge there as well. He does a good job pushing the ball down for deep completions, but if those aren't available to him, he has nothing. And I think Michigan, and I read about Jesse Minter and him and the focus on Milroe. Obviously, they know how dangerous he is, right? They understand that when he gets going, he is a load to take down. And he spoke about one thing that I think is underrated, and that is gap discipline. That's going to be very important for people like Kenneth Grant, for guys like uh, Mason Graham. Gap discipline. It's not always about you as an individual getting to the quarterback or making a play. Sometimes, especially in the cases of guys like Jaden Milrow, gap discipline is more important. You want to make sure he's boxed in and he doesn't have these lanes to escape, because that's when he's the most dangerous. So I think drilling that home, these guys understand the importance of that and will, like I said, get that taken care of. Now, in terms of Michigan and what they need to do offensively, we already know they want to establish the run. And lucky for them, Alabama hasn't exactly been stout at stopping the run. In fact, Auburn just rushed for over 200 yards on them. So it's not like Michigan won't have the opportunity to run the football, but it's more than just running the football. It's using the run game to set up the play action, where we know JJ excels in play action. In fact, was one of the best, not the best, play action quarterback in college football this year. Let me get to a couple of the comments. We need Alex Orji to get snaps when they think going to run it, pass to a tight end or in the flats. I agree with this. In fact, Orji needs to see the field, and even to run as well. The threat of him running will and I saw this on another channel too. Someone was speaking about this. Shout out to Johnny Olden, King of the North over there. He spoke about the second time that probably should have handed that ball off to Samaj Morgan, and I agree with that 1,000%. The first time he got that big chunk, he just wanted to make a play. He's not on the field often, so I get it, but he's got to be more disciplined than that and read the defense properly. We might have to prepare for Mr. Moore to be our next coach, man. So we'll speak on that in just a second, actually, in Jim Harbaugh and the contract that has been offered that has not yet been signed. We got to keep that in mind. Also, Jesse Minter, Sharon Moore, obviously with the most coaching experience, head coaching experience on the staff. He led victories against Penn State and Ohio State in impressive fashion, so he would more than likely be next in line. I saw some crazy rumors about Brian Kelly. We do not want Brian Kelly. It's been reported that Brian would leave LSU to go to Michigan if that job opens up. We do not want Brian Kelly. I repeat. Shout out to King Go Blue. I'm upset. He will stay. We'll find out after the playoffs. Let's move on. Right. Look, I understand too him focusing. The focus has to be on this game, right? Michigan has made the college football playoff 3 straight years, have not gotten out of the semifinals in those first 2 years. They have to do better than that this year. We understand that. So the focus completely being on the Rose Bowl and beating Alabama, I'm okay with it. And if Jim doesn't want to have contract discussions and negotiations during that time or sign a contract during that time, I'm okay with that too. But let's talk about it. LSU trying to get rid of Brian Kelly. Yo, that's a fact, man. They want a return on that investment, bro. They try and get anything they can do to get him out of there. Truth, AJ, absolutely. Let's go on and talk a little bit about the contract that was discussed. As you saw in my last video, 10 years, $125 million contract on the table for Jim Harbaugh. That would put him at 12.5 annually. That would adequately him for coaches in the country in terms of that salary. And I think, for one, Jim deserves that salary, right? I'm not going to mince my words there. because some people are like, oh, we should wait until we get the results from these playoffs. We don't need him, in my opinion. He's gotten the 3 straight college football playoffs. He's won 3 straight Big Ten championships. He's the first to do that, by the way. At all the years that Michigan was down, nobody, including the other state, won 3 straight Big Ten championships. But Jim Harbaugh did that. So he's got to get credit for that. He's got to get credit for making 3 straight college football playoff appearances. Now, obviously, we do want to win, right? And that's the ultimate goal. But you can't win if you ain't there. Got to keep that in mind, too. Best you'll get from any place but San Diego, but Michigan is a better choice. I think about the Chargers, who are Los Angeles now, but I get it. Yeah, the Chargers, I don't think that's a good job, man. I think Herbert is a little overrated as well. You can't keep blaming everybody except the quarterback when you lose, because the quarterback's going to get all the credit when you win. So he's got to take some blame too. He's not been exactly perfect in his time in Los Angeles, but that's a whole nother discussion. We're not trying to talk about or get on NFL discussions. Let's talk about the game though. What do you guys think is the biggest matchup in this game? For me, I think it's Michigan's defense versus Jaden Milroe and containing him. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think the biggest matchup is in this game coming into this one. Also, be sure to tune in later tonight to week 0. I will be on there. And if you came in, hit that like button. Share this with everybody, your friends, social media. Let's get some more people in here and let's talk about it. One of the things that I brought up though is tomorrow I will be live with an Alabama YouTuber, Nick Saban Jr. He goes by. Going to school him on why the Wolverines are the back-to-back champions, and also why they're going to wipe the floor with his Crimson Tide. But when it gets here, it gets here. We'll be live at 5 p.m. tomorrow, so be sure to tune in to that one. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's get to these questions. My guy Twan says, if Jim stay or leave, Michigan is good either way. Michigan has the best coaching infrastructure in college football. Not just saying that because I'm a Michigan fan. I agree with this, actually. The offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, both been ideal. You move on down the line, you got Michigan guys and Mike Hart who would move up, I'm guessing, in the rankings if there was a coaching shift and change. And maybe he becomes a coordinator. I don't want to. Obviously, I think Grant Newsome is actually in line to become the coordinator if Sharon Moore moves on to the head coaching job. But I think the most ideal situation is for Jim Harbaugh to stay. Just my opinion. I stand by that. Hit the damn like button. Say it again. Can't hit the damn like button. It's really easy. It costs you nothing. Trust me. Defensive line versus Milroe. Michigan wide receivers versus Bama corners. Those Bama corners, and I think not enough has been talked about that. Kool-Aid McKinstry and the other guy, can't think of his name off the top of my head, but both of those guys are going to be playing on Sundays. So Michigan's wideouts are going to have to get separation, which hasn't been a Michigan, staple for the last few seasons, right? In terms of wideouts getting separation. If anybody can, we know Wilson can. I think Samaj Morgan should get some more snaps, maybe even in the slot more. Tyler Morris, those guys need to get some snaps. I think those guys are difference makers and can be difference makers. We all know Samaj, so they need to hit the field. Jim might go to the Raiders. Man, and look, as a Raider fan, as much as I like Jim Harbaugh, and I think he would be successful with the Raiders, right? Right now, the Raiders are in a situation where Antonio Pierce is doing a good job. He's really galvanized the team. They're playing well. I would much rather Jim be the Michigan head coach, right? Jim can stay where he is. Antonio Pierce get another crack at it next year. He stepped in the interim role this year. Let's see what he does full time. I would much rather Jim be the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. But if he does move on, then the Raiders it is. And I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. I like the Raiders are my team. If Jim wins the Natty, he can go coach the chess club for all I care. Shout out to C's to Facts. He can go coach the chess club if he wins that Natty. I believe we need English and more in the game. I agree. I forgot about English. Yeah, definitely. Bama struggle with jet sweeps and pulls. Secondary is good, but they don't tackle well. Bama corners was getting torched. The rookie, their D is big, but can't move laterally, so twist, slant, stunts. Perfect analysis here. This is really good stuff right here. That Bama D is not like the Bama Ds we're used to. Pause, by the way. They're not like the Bama defenses of old. This one's a little put together, if you will. It's kind of jerry-rigged together. They still get, pressure on the quarterback. They got decent edge rushers. They still have excellent athletes scattered throughout that defense, but in terms of putting it all together, they just haven't been able to do that this year. I think they were ranked the 18th ranked defense, total defense or scoring defense this year, which is, a far cry from when they were really Bama on defense. You know what I mean? So it is a little different, but I think Michigan is definitely some things they can exploit. Getting guys like Samaj Morgan, even Roman Wilson out in those jet sweeps and using that quickness and speed, I think would be ideal in those situations for sure. Al Davis will not get along with Jim. Well, Al Davis is dead. But RIP to Jim. Mark Davis, I think he'll be fine. Man, I can't wait to see Nick Satan lose. I had respect for Bama, but now it's time to bust him up. 1-1-24. Michigan's getting no respect, and this is disgusting and it is disgusting and disrespectful. And I do feel like Michigan is being disrespected on Blue Ivy's internet. Let's be real. Michigan, undefeated, wins the Big Ten for the third straight year, Big Ten championship, all of those things, defeats the other state 3 straight years, and we're still being talked about like we're just a add-on to the college football playoff. It's disrespectful, and Michigan needs to make sure that everyone leaves there knowing our name. And Michigan winning that national championship, that's the most important thing. It's the only thing to get the respect that we believe that Michigan deserves, right? Michigan get that national championship. All other bets are off. I don't care. We got the Natty. Then we can start talking about dynasties, honestly, because if we're being honest, outside of 21 was a great year. And I do think, obviously, we deserve to be in that college football playoff. That was the first time that Michigan team was not ready for Georgia. Let's be real. Georgia was a better team that day. They won. They should have won. Last year, though, that Michigan team was better than TCU, and it wasn't really even close. Now, what TCU did is they took all the talk like we're talking about now as disrespect. They used that for locker room material, right? Bulletin board material. And they went out, punched Michigan in the face. And by the time Michigan recovered from that punch in the face, it was too late. If there were 5 more minutes on the clock, I think we have a different outcome in that game. Unfortunately, for Michigan and Michigan fans, that was not the case. Now, this year, we can build off of those experiences and obviously build off of the talk. All the chatter is that Alabama's going to win. They're calling it the Alabama Invitational. I've been calling it the college football playoff, the Alabama Invitational for years, but people are calling it the Alabama Invitational and I think it's a foregone conclusion. Alabama's in the playoff, they're going to win. It's not the case. They're disrespecting the Big Ten. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here going to act like this was the strongest Big Ten of all time. It was not, right? But that's still a quality league. The Big Ten has quality football teams. Iowa was not in the Big Ten championship game by chance. They were there because they play excellent defense. They played excellent defense all year. Now, granted, they can't score the ball, but they didn't have to score the ball for most of their games, right? They lost like 2 games going into that one. right? The league is okay, and especially now, it's going to be even stronger. But it wasn't Michigan's competition wasn't the best that it could have been. But we had surprise teams. Rutgers is one of those teams that was kind of a surprise team. They ended up being a pretty strong team. I'm not saying that Rutgers is a world beater, but they were a good team this year. Greg Schiano is a good coach. He coached them up, right? They ran into, Nebraska is on the come up. They weren't very good this year, but they're on the come up. Minnesota, another team that maybe, I can't say they're on the come up, but they're not a horrible football team. Then you've got Maryland State, was right in the quintessential game written all over it, out that way, right? So Michigan's schedule is nothing to sneeze at. UNLV turned out to be an actual decent football team. Bowling Green beat Georgia Tech. So, and I believe Georgia Tech is a bowl team, right? Bowling Green's a bowl team. So I don't want to hear about Michigan's schedule. And it's not like Alabama was out here, dominating week in and week out. I talked about it already. Arkansas took them to the brink. If the Heisman Trophy winner, right, doesn't get injured in that game, it could be different too. Now, granted, Alabama had the lead when he got hurt, so I'm not saying they would have lost, but it could have been a different story. They struggled with USF. Like, we can't forget that they lost at home by double digits to Texas. Now, Texas is also a playoff team, but you still lost at home by double digits to a team from the Big 12 at the time. Now, they're going to be an SEC team. That's neither here nor there. But they lost that game. And you can make the argument they're a different team, that they're better than they were in week 2. I think that was they played them. Sure, that could be the case. Doesn't take away from the fact you lost that game by 10 at home or 11, whatever they lost that game by. It was double digits at the crib. They lost. All right. You needed a prayer, literal prayer against Auburn in the Iron Bowl. God himself placed the ball at young man's hand in the back of the end zone, caught it, brought it over, placed it. Here you go, son. We got bigger players for you in the back of the end zone. If that's not the case, we're not even talking about Bama right now. We're talking about Florida State. But either way, I digress. Alabama will get what's coming to them on the first. Be there or be square by the back-to-back champs. Let's get back to these comments really quickly. I still found it funny that ACC had a better record against the SEC. Facts. Not enough people are talking about that. People forgot that. Definitely. Including the team that got jerked out of a playoff spot, beating a premier team in the SEC to start the season by a lot of points. But I digress. Look at the games. Alabama played all year. They had a lot of close games as well. No significant wins except GG. I guess that's Georgia. But they'll end up looking past us. Big mistake. Facts. They better not look past us. Now, look, I'm going to give them some credit because they are being coached by the GOAT. No matter how you feel about Nick Saban, he's the GOAT. And I'm sure he won't let them necessarily overlook Michigan, but it won't matter in the end. People talk about the SEC. It's only 2 of them doing anything. The rest of them are just high-level losers. Shout out to Antoine, high-level losers. We need the O-line to give JJ some time to pass, make decisions. Then we'll be fine. Our defense needs to contain or limit Milroe. Facts. Won't get an argument from me out of that. Go Blue. Shout out to Casey. Killer. Underdog, they've been taking care of business with all the NCAA crap this year. Go blue. Shout out to that. Go blue. One versus top coaches poll. Is that what it did? Alabama finish number 2 in the coaches poll? That's kind of crazy if they did. Um, let's get to some of these stats because I want to break some of these things down because there's a misconception about where Alabama ranks and where Michigan ranks, and we need to chop this fable. Let's get the chop of this fable. Your fake new Tupac who went fatal. In terms of offense, I think Michigan ranked like 63rd, 67th in total offense, which isn't horror. It's right in the middle of the pack. Maybe a little higher than middle, but they could obviously be better on offense. Excuse me. Know what's going on. And then on defense, we know they finished number 2. Michigan number 2 overall defense. I agree. Michigan. Oh, just read that one. No, Nick Saban is number on college coach than Jim Harbaugh. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much what I believe too. Nick Saban is the GOAT. We can't take that away from him. I mean, I think he's got like 7 national championships, maybe 8. It's ridiculous. But in terms of the best, I think, and I made this argument on another show, I think Jim Harbaugh is the best coach right now, right today. Jim Harbaugh is the best coach in college football, and Nick Saban is just the greatest coach in college football. His resume says so. We can't get past his resume, and Jim's got a lot of winning to do to catch that resume if he plans to catch it. You know what I mean? So Nick Saban's resume is what it is. You can't get around that. Make their edge rushers play the run at them like Georgia did us when we had Hunch and the Jabo Facts. Georgia did a great job of doing that, actually. And I think that Michigan will do that. They understand that. Got to put those guys on their heels, slow down that pass rush. You want to prevent those guys from getting up the field as much as possible, run right at them. If Alabama wins the coin toss, they'll want to play on offense first to try and exploit Michigan's defense early because they know that Michigan's offense has been struggling. I don't know, man. I think both of these guys, we saw Michigan has been deferring all year, really. Nick Saban might also defer in this situation. Kirby Smart isn't bad. That's a fact. I can't disrespect Kirby Smart. You're right, Joe. Kirby Smart probably a little is ahead of Jim too. I would say Dabo, but things have been a little different with Dabo, but he's a multiple time champion too, so we can't disrespect those gentlemen. Jim Harbaugh is the best for college football and NFL coach overall. Oh, that's a fact. He's the best of both worlds. I guess my guy in Seattle will have a little something to say about that, but give me Jim. I don't know why Bama fans think Michigan can't run the ball on them when Auburn ran it down their throats. Facts. Alabama fans are some of the most delusional fans on the internet. I thought Ohio State had a delusional fan base, and they do, by the way. The other state fan base. In fact, let me not disrespect Alabama fans. Ohio State fans are still the most delusional fans, but Alabama fans, they're not far behind. Now, granted, in the case of Alabama fans, they've seen a lot of success. So I kind of understand their big-headed idea of their team, right? They've won a lot. But in the case of that vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus, they shouldn't be talking the way they talk. They talk crazy. Like winning is innately like the thing they do. They wake up and win. Bro, y'all gotta chill. But Alabama fans are annoying. If the Big Ten was in flux, powerhouse teams, Michigan should get rid of its non-con schedule and grab more delicious cupcakes. There's no need to schedule hard games. We got them all in-house. That schedule is daunting. You saw the 2024 schedule for Michigan. It looks like a who's who of brand names in college football. There's Texas, there's USC, there's the other state, there's Oregon, there's Washington. We play Oregon and Washington, USC, UCLA. We play all four of them year one, I believe. So it does look kind of crazy. And I think even another one of the non-con games is like Fresno State, and Fresno State's nothing to sneeze at. So Michigan, nobody can talk about their schedule next year. That's for damn sure. Crying Ryan is trash though. Facts. Professional third baseman. It's time to make Saban the first sacrificial goat to him back in the days of the little brother. Facts. People forget Saban was the coach at Michigan State for a while. He was doing some good things over there, but they were still little bro. Poor little bro them. But yeah, I do think Jim Harbaugh retires Nick Saban this Monday, or next Monday rather, at the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl will be Nick Saban's last game coaching college football. That is my personal belief. There's a lot of smoke in terms of this being Nick's last year, and since he won't be beating Michigan, this will be his last game. So I think that Jim and the Michigan Wolverines send old Saint Nick out to pasture this Monday in Pasadena. What you think about that? Let me know what you guys think about that. Is this Nick Saban's last game? Mentor bring those Ravens overload blitzes, make Milroe roll left. People also forget John Harbaugh will add to game plan on stopping Milroe. I'm sure he knows having Lamar Jackson facts. That is an underrated thing to have in the back pocket of Jim Harbaugh is his brother John Harbaugh, who is coaching arguably the most electric player in the NFL in Lamar Jackson, who has a skill set that is in line with Jaden Milroe's. Now, Jaden Milroe is no Lamar Jackson, but because of that, it should be, even easier to install or implement that game plan. Not to say that stopping Milroe will be easy either way, but Michigan will be up to the challenge, I'm sure. Retire Satan. Facts. That should be the hashtag. I'm using that hashtag on Twitter. Retire Satan. Orgy is a beast. I hope they find ways to use them. Absolutely. Orgy is a complete unit. Absolute unit out there. Do you think Orgy will get some snaps? I think 100% Orgy gets snaps. Orgy has to get snaps. We might be in it. Look, Michigan may be in a situation next year where Orgy's our starting quarterback. Jaden Davis, we know he's coming in, but he's going to be a freshman. At least to start the season. Orgy may be the starting quarterback, and I think he may just be the starting quarterback next season. Jaden Davis's father has already spoken about how he wants his son to kind of learn before taking the role as the starter, and that may be on the bench behind somebody like Alex Orgy, if, of course, JJ moves on to the NFL, and there's some smoke there too. If JJ leaves, does Michigan let Orgy run the team? I just spoke about. I think so. If JJ leaves, I think Alex Orgy is the quarterback next year. Now, I still think it's a quarterback competition, and I got to be honest, Jayden Denegal is not bad himself, especially as a passer. I think he's a better passer at this state right now. I mean, at this time right now than Orgy. But Orgy will have an off season. He'll have a spring camp to try to step up. He's definitely the better athlete of the two. So I don't think that's a question at all. I hope we utilize Edwards in the pass game. Yes. I'm sure there are packages for the Don in the pass game. Orgy could be a starter next year. He could be. Now, I also want to be very careful because we don't want a Joe Milton situation either. Now, I don't want to put that juju on Alex Orgy. I don't want to accuse him of being Joe Milton at all. But Joe Milton was also a unit. And we were salivating, pause, for Joe Milton to take over And he did, and he looked good that first game. It was all downhill after that. And I don't want, like I said, I don't want to put that juju on Orgy. I think he'll be better than that for sure. Um, and the coaches wouldn't put him out there if he wasn't. They never let Orgy throw the ball yet. We need to get him into some screenplays. I do. So I think, and I could be wrong about this, but they could have been setting up for Orgy to throw the ball all year. All the times we've seen Orgy, he's gotten in and he's kind of done the read option where he kept it, I think, every time. But even in, running that read option where he hands it off, or running that read option where he pulls it back and throws, I think all of those things are in play. And him throwing it is probably the most dangerous right now, because I'm sure teams are going to be on 10 for. So I definitely think that could be something that they work out in these college football playoffs for sure. If it's not in the Rose Bowl, maybe in the national championship game. I was thinking that Davis Warren would have been a good stopgap quarterback, but unsure about that. Looks confused in the game. Yeah, Davis Warren has, like, I thought the same. Like, he's had like a couple moments, but also he does, I don't know. And to be honest, like, he dropped down the depth chart. Like, I think Tuttle was above him in the depth chart this year, so I don't know how that's going to work out. Might see Corum, Morgan, Edwards all on the field at the same time. That would be special. They should have a package like that. That would be fired. Michigan's OCDC needs to come in with some new wrinkles. Well, for sure. Definitely need to have some new wrinkles. Michigan has to craft the offense to fit Orgy, like Wildcat and RPO packages mixed in with simple, easy read slant routes. I agree. Especially if he's going to be the quarterback. They definitely got to cater the offense to him. Davis Warren only looks good at summer games. Oh, man. Shout out to Davis Warren, yo. No disrespect. Respectfully, but disrespectfully. It's disrespectful. Only looks good in the summer. Yeah, so don't forget, guys, tomorrow I'm live with Nick Saban Jr. That's what he goes by. Nick Saban Jr. He's obviously an Alabama fan. I'm going to be setting them straight. You guys come in. We're going to set them straight together. He's been talking crazy on his channel, man. He's been going up, talking about how what Alabama's going to be, and why the SEC is the better league, all of these things. It's a lot of nonsense, but kind of crazy. Right. He should throw with shock Bama. Definitely would catch them off guard. Sorry, bro, but truth hurts. Still talking about Davis Warren. Do you think we'll get wide receiver that can separate from DBs next year? I think those are some guys, man. I think Amarian Stewart, I talked about him way early in his recruitment. He's coming in, but his route running he was a high school player, but he was routing people up something crazy. And I think he played in the Army All-American game a couple weeks ago and caught like 2 touchdowns. He's going to be something to keep an eye on. I think there's some guys on the roster too that aren't getting a lot of opportunities. That could be a problem, and I'd look out for them too. St. Nick Jr. should be about 60 years old. He's a young guy, man. Young guy. You're going to be surprised. Davis Warren's a story, beating cancer, getting a chance to play quarterback for Michigan. Facts. Saban Jr. That's what he goes by, Nick Saban Jr. He's going to be right here on the Maize Madman tomorrow, 5 p.m. We need Orgy Corum package. Oh, I think we saw that. Yeah, we do need that, though. Do you think Clemens, can be our 50-50 outside wide receiver? I think he could. He definitely has the body for it. I was looking for him to be in that role this year, but I don't know, man. He couldn't get off the bench. We'll need Clemens to step up for Michigan next year. Facts. He definitely coming out of high school. He's was supposed to be that guy, and I think he still has an opportunity to be that guy. I'm watching the portal, man, because I'm a little worried about him in particular and Amorian Walker. Those two, I don't want to lose either one of them. I think Amorian Walker is the best athlete on the team outside of maybe Alex Orji. And I just don't know like what position he ends up being. Is he a corner? Is he a receiver? He's definitely got the size to be either or. He got the speed to be either or. It'd be very, very interesting to see what happens. We'll need Clemens step up. 6'4". Yeah, 6'4". He's a big dude, man. Anyway, I got to get ready to do this week 0 thing. Shout out to all of you guys for coming through. Michigan's going to beat the shit out of Alabama. Jim Harbaugh going to prove he's a better coach than Nick Saban before he returns to the NFL. I'm with you. I think Michigan wins this game by multiple scores. And by multiple scores, I mean 10 or more. Michigan wins by 10 or more. Move Walker back to wide receiver. It's wheelchair time for Nick Saban, retiring for good with a loss. Roll Tide. Oh, snap. Shout out to T. Jones. Facts. Roll Tide. Anyway, man, check me out. I'll be right back in less than an hour with the guys from week 0 talking about whatever they want to talk about. I'm sure Ryan has inflammatory things to say about Michigan. We got to put him in his place too. Much love. Go Blue. Shout out to that. Go Blue. Till next time, stay angry, my friends.